All right, hello and welcome. We've got a number of people with us. Let's see who we got. We've got Valerie and Steph. Let them in the door. Welcome. It is our November 4th call. Hi, Valerie. Hey, Steph. Good to see you both.
Hello.
Excited to see you for our creativity and writing. Let's see how many other people join us. Ivana's coming in. So let me ask you before we dive into today's topic, what brought you here? What's the focus for you? Dare I ask?
Well, I love writing.
I know you love writing. I know you love writing. That's great. So it was writing
It
like
was writing, and then I'm just looking at how we do things through a creative lens.
mm,
Because I come from the financial management background, and so my brain goes to the analytical piece, and I love being able to invite in a creative perspective. So,
love it. Well, we've got three exercises today, Valerie. And I don't
excellent.
know if you heard, but I'm doing hourly 1 hour a day sprints, writing sprints this entire month. So join us. You
Oh,
don't have to, you don't have to like come all 30 days. Every day is a little bit different. And some people are working on books, like we've got Steph here, we've got Ivana here. We've got quite a few people who are just starting to drop in. So tomorrow is an evening call at 6:30 Eastern. If you're free, Friday is 12:30 afternoon. So,
okay.
yeah. Welcome to you, Steph. Good to see you. So, what
Hi.
brought you? I'm asking to start, what brought everyone here rather than diving into a creative exercise? What brought you here today, Steph?
So I'll be embarrassingly honest. I don't know today's topic, but I am here because I love this community. I always get so much from these sessions, no matter what the topic is. And I am one of those people who have a growth mindset and I'm always looking to expand. And this like fills my cup, if that makes sense.
Excellent.
So thank you, Jen.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And I know you've been like, you are, I think, 4 for 4 of the November writing sprints. So just a shout out to everyone. If you ever were thinking about doing a book or even just want to start tackling your 2026 content, it is November, which historically has been National Novel Writing Month. This is I thought it was our fifth, but it's actually our seventh annual 30-day sprint. So meeting once 1 hour a day for 30 days, whether you're with us all 30 days or even just a few, it's better than none, I say as a writer. So good to see you, Steph. And Ivana, welcome to you. What brought you to today's call on creativity and writing?
Yeah, thanks. It's good to see some new faces, Valerie, and some familiar faces. For me, actually, Jen, you know what? I was kind of bringing two things to this call. One is like when we talk about journaling, because part of the topic is journaling, writing, creativity. What are the nuances like because and how does journaling fit with writing? I mean, obviously journaling is a process of a writing process, but journaling is distinct than writing a book. So
Mhm.
that and then for me it's also I'm also very much like logic and I want to bring just more creativity in how I approach everything in my life, let alone my writing and my journaling.
Well,
So, yeah, that.
good. Well, I'm realizing too, I left my sparkers upstairs, so I'm at my northern office today because I was supposed to go to the dentist, but they are sick. So I am here. I'm not having to rush out, which is a great thing. I was going to make this a 20-minute call, and then I looked at what I had planned, and I was like, that's a little short. So we're going to do three experiential exercises. And as a couple of you said, we're going to start with just like writing is writing, but there are different derivatives of writing. And I love for you, Ivana, that you were thinking about journaling. I don't have any of my journals here with me, obviously, but are any of you journalers? Like I've kept journals consistently since I was a university student. In fact, throughout my global career, I wrote every day. And for me, it was like a way to capture ideas, experiences. I have to say, those journals are in a sealed box. When I came back in 2004, I said one day I'll open these, but there was so much in those journals of my life that I was like, I don't know if I really want to go through them. So it's interesting. And since then, I go through these bursts. When I'm up here all summer, I tend to write journal like maybe 4 or 5 times a week at night, just as I'm like in bed. And it's my way to reflect on the day. And I will share a framework that I've sort of iterated. It's not published, but I'm going to share it here because I think it might be interesting for those of you that want a bit of a process. I've also used index cards. So there have been a couple summers, and those sit actually on my desk at home, where I just was sort of in a mindset of like, I want to capture ideas around tools, processes, mostly facilitation or coaching. And every night I'd fill out a couple of index cards that were just on this little string. So we can journal for a lot of reasons, right? It can be like processing, it can be, just gratitude. I think that's a big one for so many people. Or you could do what we've done. And over at the Teams 365 blog from 2014 until earlier this year, I was doing a weekly journaling prompt every Saturday. So some of you have seen our little journaling prompt cards. I'll attach a photo of them, but they actually grew out of it. And Ivana, I think, has a set there. So lots of ways to spark creativity, because it's not just writing people. I think it's leaders, team members, a whole bunch of folks. So let me open it up. Who else has something to share about journaling? Steph, you brought one of yours?
It's on my desk. I was looking at it though. It's like I haven't written in it since and it's actually I'm gonna have to start a new one. I have one page left. So which is a good thing because I love notebooks. I am a notebookaholic. So I also have used it for manifesting things. If there's something in my future vision that I aspire to, and I've written about it. I like to create prayers to the universe as well, randomly, depending on how I'm feeling, or a shout out to my angels to come and surround me and protect me and guide me. um, I always forget about them, and then something will spark and it's like, oh my God, I haven't asked my angels to come. So I read one time they're always here, but they because of the free will, that rule that's imposed upon them, they're not going to step in and help change your life unless you call upon them, and you need to say the words out loud too, so that they hear you. Um, and I think we always have two. And that's where the term guardian angel comes from. It's a real thing if you believe in angels. So anyway, I also use it to shout out to my angels. And I will say, when I was in Maine over the summer, I was starting to pack up and I couldn't find my passport. And I had brought it because my sister and I were going to go take a trip to Canada, which we never did. But I'm like, where the hell is my passport? And I'm like, even researching, how do I get a new one? And then there is an angel, and I forget his name. It's not St. Anthony, it's another angel that's for lost and found. And I wrote some prayers to him and I shouted out to him. And then I found where I had put it in its safe place. So they can help us.
A cool story. I think, the more I do things in life, the more I realize, like, I think there's often a universal power that shows up. We've even been seeing it in the first 4 days of the writing sprints, just how, today, yesterday was bird's eye view. Today, oh goodness, what was today? Today was the
Wheel.
star and the wheel,
Wheel.
right? Which, like, almost everyone writing was like, ooh, and for me, it got me into this sort of like spurt of writing early this morning. So regardless, so here's a little piece. So Ivana, it looks like you went to your magic bag. Do you have your bag?
It is. This is the potentials realized conversation sparker bag that I bring
Oh,
with
good.
me
I got,
everywhere
I
I
didn't bring
go.
mine, but you have yours. So
Yeah.
what were you going to show?
I love these, and quite honestly, can I tell you, I forget that I have them for myself. I use them with clients all the time. And to think that I could just pull this out and do a random shuffle, and just pick one, two, and just
Well,
do 5 minutes.
so here's what we'll get you to do. Let's do a random shuffle. So these are the Conversation Sparker journaling cards, which again grew out of these weekly blog posts that I started in
Mm.
probably 2017. I would write them. Lindsay, my VA at the time, would do a graphic around it. We took the graphics, and actually those are the heart of the cards. So there's a couple of versions, right? There were 52 in a deck because there were 52 weeks. And I have to say, these were launched just before the pandemic in December of 2019 as physical cards. And what happened, of course, in the pandemic, all of a sudden I had to pivot to digital
Mhm.
version. And this was before Deckable existed. So they've always been housed in a Dropbox. And people love them. Like it's really amazing to see these. This has been like a slow burning project or product. So Ivana, you're smiling. What flipped out?
One popped out. So in the angel cards, bringing Stephanie's voice back in, when they pop out, it means that's one of them. So how
Is it
many
on
do
the
you want me to
floor?
pull?
Yeah, well, I want to know what the pop is. What did the
So
pop?
the pop out was this. What I want to say a big no to is.
So let's take a minute. I'm going to start the timer for
Yeah.
a minute. What I want to say a big no to is, and we'll just journal on that question or write a little something on that question. Enjoy. Let me see if I can start our timer today.
You're on mute, Jen.
Thank you for letting me know. I was just saying that's our minute. But who got some insights? You don't have to share the insights, but who got insights just from that 1 minute? So again, one of the key messages I really wanted to underscore today is just these are not like we have to find an hour, even like 2 minutes could be just enough. In fact, I have one of the many journals I own is a 1 line a day journal, which inspired the 1 line a day pages in thinking, yeah, mine is like my favorite color, right? Like this. And I've had it for many, many years. You're supposed to have it for 3 years, but I can never. Here's the thing, I can never do something for 365 days. It's just not in my nature. I try, but then I sort of like fall maybe 80 days into
Off
the
the mark.
process.
Yeah.
So, Steph, are you consistent in that?
No.
No.
And I really bought it to try to record. Yeah, I have two grandchildren, 2 and 4. So I really wanted to kind of focus that on that. And weeks will go by. And then I'll find myself going, okay, what happened last week? What happened the week before that? And I was just contemplating going to Charleston on Friday with them. And I was just contemplating whether or not I want to bring it, but I just wish it was thinner.
Yeah.
So a bit heavy.
Is
I
that your
like,
journal? Sorry, I missed something. Are we talking just general journaling consistency
yeah.
or something specific?
Oh,
Sorry.
this was a day at a time,
Um,
a line a day at a time, but there's a lot of blank pages. So not
one
consistent.
line a day, right? That's
And
all.
I can't even get that out of me sometimes.
Well, be gentle with yourself. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into like three little other activities. Anything else that people want to note? We don't have
I
to.
just want to say it's one of the things I wrote down I want to say no to. No
Ooh,
more complaining and no more seeing the lack. No more ants.
ooh, that's good. Yeah, I
And I just did it
often,
again.
so one thing I often doubt is like, oh, people are going to watch videos. We had someone come to the writing sprint, and it's the only one that they've been able to watch, but they watch it consistently and over the past years. Like, I need to remember that the world is really an asynchronous world, regardless. So, for those of you that are watching this, please let us know that you're watching it by sharing just a comment or even a heart is always very welcomed. So we're going to go into three quick exercises as long as I can find the right slide deck. Here we go. So I framed today really sparking creativity, writing, and curiosity. And we'll use writing as sort of like the baseline. This is our hot topic, our first of actually three hot topics this month. So we've got today's call on creativity and writing. We've got our call in 2 weeks from now, which is another hot topic. I just can't remember the theme. And next week is the very popular 2026 visioning session. So the vision session is something I've done probably for 10 years now, and people love it. So bring your journal because we're going to be doing some vision work around what you want in your life or your business in 2026. So we're going to start with wonder. And for this, you need to get up. Or like me, I'm in a small room. I'm going to ask you to grab the nearest object. What is the nearest object to you right now? Just grab it randomly. I've got an envelope. If it could speak about your current creative energy, what would it say? And we're going to do another minute of free writing. So, what does this item say about your current creative energy? Take a minute and start chatting, writing it out for yourself. All right. So you could share this in chat, but we are a small group. I'd love for you to be able to share whatever you've chosen. I'll kick us off, and I chose the envelope. So I've found since the beginning of the month, starting this new manuscript, I've actually been writing every day on the back of envelopes, right? It's not that I'm clearing our mailboxes, which the postal strike was on for a couple of months. And I've just started clearing mailboxes thinking, oh, there's mail in there now. But what I love about it is I think the process at which I am right now, day 4 of this new manuscript, it's like I'm gathering all these scraps together, right? It's like it's quick, it's simple, it's ideas that I just want to anchor. They're not formed, which is okay. I'm giving myself permission to just be walking around with like a whole literally lunch bag of envelopes. I was going to go shred these before the call. And now I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not going to shred them. I'm going to put them in my lunch bag and take them home. When I say my lunch bag, I have one of those fancy lunch bags, which as you know, as a remote worker, when we get to go to the office, it's sort of fun because you can pack a lunch. So I'm going to put these back in my lunch bag, and maybe when the spirit hits me, I will do that. So that's my wonder. Let's hear from someone else who'd be willing to share what your item was and how it sparks something for you. Steph?
So I have a remote, remote control. So I have, I forget what they're called, but it's an LG screen. So it's like a big screen and I can link to watch things. And so what I've been using it for is I do the Pomodoro technique when I want to focus. And so I've been linking to these videos on YouTube that have timers built in. So you get 50-minute sprints with 10-minute breaks. And I've been using that in my creative space. And so it helps me stay focused because I have so many ideas. Having something like that helps me be intentional and focused, so that I'm not getting distracted and so I can stay focused. And so I said that, the remote represents being intentional and productive and consistent. And I'm on YouTube, so I do kind of see what other people are doing. But it's usually I'm drawing from their creativity instead of just kind of passively watching. So.
Yeah, I love that. And it's such a great reminder of the power of like boundaries, right? And, already I've said it 6 times. Like, I think November is always my strongest, most creative time, except for July, right? Like, I also love my 3 days of the gift that I give myself in being part of the Muskoka Novel Marathon. And there's just something like I was debating, would I write fiction this month or would I write nonfiction? And I've gone to nonfiction, but this back of the napkin is giving me the permission that to write nonfiction is not as fast as it is for me to write fiction.
Mm.
And I love writing fiction now. But I got to finish these other ideas. Love it. Thank you for sharing the remote. And Steph, is there one you want to share?
So I picked up a pillow, and on the pillow, front of the pillow is a sea turtle. And I love sea turtles, and I love to paint. And I have forever and ever said I see artwork of sea turtles in shops, and I'm like, I can paint that. And I have never done it. So what it sparked for me is the remembrance of that, and that the joy I get when I'm being creative and painting. And I don't do it often enough. So I need to like schedule some time for me to paint a sea turtle.
Phenomenal. I love that. Well, if you ever need to find a home, send them to me. I worked in sea turtle research for many years, very close to a family that are leading sea turtle research in Guyana. So
Oh,
it's
so
where they are.
you
I
know they
know.
live.
Yeah, there are 4 different types of sea turtles that nest in Guyana on the coast. So yeah, not hidden known fact. So, Ivana, anything you want to share?
Yeah, thank you. I'll be quick. So I chose the pen because it was the thing closest to me. And what's really interesting, and Jen knows this, is I did the writing sprint with her last year, and it was all about pen and paper. And what I've really discovered in this minute is this actually is a creative process for me to write. You mentioned, I think it was on a podcast recording or a community call, you mentioned the morning pages, and I've started to do that. I'm not consistent, but it's been so healing for me. But it also supports me on so many levels. So I just want to give myself this writing is just allow me to like give myself the permission to call myself a writer and use pen or use a digital pen as appropriate. But it is one of my creativity avenues that I never identified with or associated with until today. So thank you.
That's so interesting. Love it. Well, let's go to the second one. So again, creativity is flow. And actually tomorrow, no, Thursday, it's only Tuesday, Thursday of this week, there's going to be a new podcast that I sat down and recorded yesterday with Dr. Rena O'Brien, who hosts the neuroscience of coaching. And so she and I sat down to talk about team flow, which is really looking at flow, but in a collective space. And so I just wanted to bring in this notion, and a few of you have mentioned it already. How do we really activate this creative flow, which is a little bit different, but just a reminder that flow happens when we have this balance of challenge and skill. In fact, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, and never pronounce his name right, but he found that in his research, flow gets activated when we're on the edge of our comfort zone, when we're on the edge of our skill zone. And where flow may also happen is, as several of you have mentioned, when we put these time blocks, right? Whether we're using Pomodoro or whether we're actually, joining a writing sprint, for example, there's real creativity that can get unlocked. As you'll hear me speak on the neuroscience of coaching, teams experience team flow when interdependence, trust, and shared purpose align. So what's interesting is this purpose piece showed up in my writing this morning, which is really about human connection architecture, which is an offshoot of the fiction writing I was doing. But I feel like there really needs to be this manual on like, what does it mean to architect connection in a human AI world? Bit of a derivative of coaching, but purpose is a big piece of this. So I want to give you just a minute to think about, for you, when does creativity come alive for you? What was that event? What was present? What was there to make you really feel at your best in a creative way? And we'll take a minute just to, again, back of the napkin, back of the envelope, just to write that out. Okay, so just a minute. Any noticing that people want to share? Were boundaries present? Was challenge present? Was there an opportunity to think about purpose, linking it with, if you work with others, interdependence? I know one of the things that came up for me was really like Saturday, day one of the sprints. I wound up working and writing most of the morning. So I sort of like had gotten up early, got to the gym, got stuff done. Then I sat down. Was it 8 o'clock? We did our first writing sprint.
Yeah.
I then went out. That was like a great flow. Then I went out for an hour to do some grocery shopping, came back for 10 o'clock because there's another writing group that was doing another hour of sprint, got into that flow, kept flowing. And then a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, do you want to go for a walk?" And I was like, this is perfect because at 2 o'clock there was another writing sprint. But I like pretty much had about 6 hours of writing time on Saturday, which was important because I then pivoted my book focus. I was going to write something called The Experiential Leader for leaders. And then I'm like, no, this is not just for leaders. This is more. This is really for anyone who wants to really be a designer in their creativity and connection. So that's mine. Anyone want to share anything about creative flow?
Jen, I just want to share something about you, if I may, just the modeling, especially for me, who I really have so much story about me as a writer, me as a creative. Just you just being really vulnerable and saying like you pivoted from this to this. It's like, yeah, like I can pivot. Like it's kind of like you're giving, I'm going to speak in first person. You're giving me permission to let it be messy. And I think in me letting it be a bit messy, that's what's going to help my flow. But I'm getting in my own way of my flow because I think I need to have everything figured out and in a box and that's why I don't see myself as a writer because I don't have it all figured out, but I think that's what actually needs to get released so I can be in the flow. So you've done it in different ways. You talked about how you changed from the art from one the experiential leader to the architect, even the fact that you were like you wanted to go back and redo your cue cards. Like you've really done it in so many different ways. I'm like, if Jen Britton can do it like really kind of, if in
Anyone.
my words, messily, then I can too. And that maybe is what writing is. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And you know, I think creativity, right? It is a messy process. And there's a lot of writers, like very expert writers, who say that part of this is just like, you know, it's really like the journey. It's the quest. You're going
Yeah.
through the story and trying to find the story, trying to find the gold. And so the only other piece that I would invite and just want to spotlight is how does your environment create flow? So you'll notice, like, I think every day of this sprint, I've been writing from a different spot. I I crave that novelty of space. Some people actually crave the novelty of routine. So you want to be aware of like what's going to unlock creativity. For me, I really need deep silence in order to write and get into flow state. And I also am becoming aware that there's something about the spirit of community that I think that's why I host these, seventh annual. Love it. So we have one more. We have writing sort of through the lens of reflection and meaning making. So it can be a mirror and a map, right? What we do can become its own map. It can create clarity as we go. It can create coherence, which is really, you know, an ability to connect the dots, which is another word for connection. Coherence might also take us into the realm of values and purpose. So there can be micro moments of writing which build cumulative insights. So I'm going to didn't know this is sort of maybe for you too, Ivana, but finish a sentence. First thing that comes to mind. If I weren't afraid, I would create.
Mm.
And I'm going to give you 1 minute just to write that out. See what emerges. If you weren't afraid, I would create. All right. So again, if you're willing to share what popped for you. And so here's what popped for me. I'll just be very vulnerable. You know me, I'm an analog kind of gal, right? Like I love my digital, but I also love having stuff. Especially like Ivana has her little bag, right? I think with this architect book, there actually might be a toolkit in it. So that's interesting because 15 years ago, I did create something called the Group Program Toolkit. I
Mm.
probably only ever sold 12 of them. And this is like going back to 2010. However, I share this because just recently, one of the alumni from that program who came to visit with me in Toronto, we had a 3-day workshop intensive retreat. They recently reached out, and why do you think, what was the spark to doing that? Because they were clearing a closet and they came across the group coaching toolkit, which included, it was like a facilitation toolkit. So I think if I weren't afraid, I would actually create a designer toolkit, a physical designer
Mm.
toolkit for program designers, experiential designers, experience designers, et cetera, et cetera. And I put down digital and physical. So I'm gonna percolate on that because it makes me excited. I really like seeing like these little toolkits that you can carry and are self-contained. So would anyone else like to share? You don't have to. Steph?
So first I want to say you were probably ahead of the times with your toolkit on group coaching, and you probably need to re-release it. I bet it would be much more successful now that, and I will share with you, LHH is embarking on changing their coaching model, which is Ezra, from a one-on-one to a group coaching model. So,
There you
so
go.
anyway, it is, I think the time has come for your toolkit. But so what I would say, and this is like highly personal, but I'm vegan and have a lot of strong thoughts about that. But I don't share content about it because, I'm afraid that people are gonna like stop following me and say, you know, that's not what the space is for, and all of the criticisms to post about, the horrors of factory farming and where our food actually comes from. So anyway, that's I don't see that changing anytime soon. I'm doing it more low key with trying to, do plant-based eating models and things like that. So promoting it from a different angle. But I would be a one of those crazy people advocating to shut down factory farms. I could see myself crawling in there with a camera and publishing it on the news. But anyway, so
Well,
that's it. Sorry, I went down a rabbit hole there.
I'll have to go back and edit this video, but that's okay. So, very good. Anyone else want to share? You don't have to. So,
I was thinking if I weren't afraid, I would release my novels under my own name instead of my pen name. So that's something I need to sit with.
I love that. I love that though. Valerie, I gotta have a convo with you one day. Anyways, yeah, well, last piece of this, curiosity is a catalyst, right? Are you like the cat looking up or the kids in the woods seeing, like this would be me when I was little, like, really, will it burn if we take the sunshine and put the magnifying glass? And so here's an exercise you can do on your own because we're coming to the end of our call. 3 whys. And so the notion is curiosity can be a catalyst. Curiosity can disrupt certainty and invites discovery, right? It fuels empathy, innovation, creative agility. Here's the thing, AI is great. It's great at mirroring back, but it cannot create new things, right? That is our human essence. And it is a muscle, right? The more we explore, the more curious we come. And I think it really, this is probably the one phase in life where I say, I think the way we imprint our kids and the experiences we have as young people can really have a tremendous influence all the way into adulthood. I don't think I'd have the confidence to be a writer in so many different areas if I hadn't had like a wilderness experience in my youth where it was like, just go, play, explore, experiment, see what happens. Like, who cares? You're in the woods, anything, anything is possible. So here's a little exercise called the 3 whys. It's not the 5 whys, but in business and life, think about a challenge you have and ask yourself, why is this important? Why does this matter? And why now? Now, these are your questions. Of course, as coaches, we're trained not to ask why questions because it's going to set defensive. But as a journaling exercise, I'm going to leave this with you to experiment with tonight. So write those questions down. Why? Think about the challenge. Ask yourself, why is this important? Why does it matter? And I invite you to think of that through multiple lenses, different perspectives, get to the 60,000 foot view, get to the weeds, get to the side. Why does it matter and why now? See how curiosity might start showing up around that challenge and how maybe some new perspectives, new ideas might get you unstuck. So that is our final piece, I think. Out of all of these, which one did you enjoy the most? You don't have to worry about what we did, but just think about the 3 things that we did, right? We did our little grab your idea. We also did the 3 whys, which you haven't tried. If I weren't afraid, I would create. And we also thought about when you were most creatively alive. What's your integration from all these exercises today?
For me, for me, it's integrating if I was not afraid with some of the structures around um, the boundaries, and just starting to put my work out there, like without my own boundaries on it.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share what their integration is? I think mine is to just keep doing it, right? What I had circled on my page is like feeling most alive, which I think is significant, right? When I can have some creative time, even in a busy day, like today is one of those days where I start early. I'm with a group tonight until 9, but I think even having this midpoint break during the day is going to really keep me jazzed. And it's inspiring me to bring the tools to them tonight, not these exercises, but I might just bring those sparkler journals cards to them. So thanks for the reminder. Valerie or Steph, anything you want to say as we go to close?
I was just going to say the full integration for me is just the permission. It's just all of this is just the permission to create and to explore it, and to not, to have boundaries, but not have boundaries in a way that helps me, not boundaries that keeps me from delving into my creativity. So, and getting it out there.
Just get it out. Just ship it, right? I think it's like, what's his name? Says just ship it. Just get it out. Steph, what's your integration?
So this all just kind of reinforces for me. I've been working like all summer writing wellness works toolkits for companies, the foundational toolkit. And so this just reinforces to me that that's I need to do this and I need to get it out there. Not only the one I'm working on, but there's 3 more or 2 more. And something that you just said, a little bell went off. And it was like, I've been thinking through this process that with all the stuff I'm working on, I can make a book out of it. There's really not a lot. When I was looking for resources for the project, there's not a lot of books out there on workplace wellness programs at work. So,
That may be it. That may be your project after you finish what you're working on today, or you might just do it in tandem, right? I like to think of creativity like a bicycle. We sometimes need to have 2 pedals going at one time. There's something
I feel
interesting.
like I'm riding with all of my arms and my feet right now. So it's maybe not just yet, but a 2026 goal.
Well, with that, hope you'll join us sometime this month. I hope you've enjoyed this. The one thing I haven't shared is the lift up dog framework. So the planning, remember I said at the start, oh, I'd use this little framework. So I've created a mnemonic and it's called lift up dog. So it's a way to systematically reflect on the day. L stands for learning. What was my learning for today? And I usually jot 1 or 2 words down. I is for insight. What was the insight that I had today? F for focus. What was the focus? So similar to Steph's 1 line a day. T stands for, I think it's thoughts. I should have my book in front of me. It's like having random thoughts, right? U, what was unique about it? And P, I call the power of 5. What were 5 things that I did that moved the needle on something? Could be work, could be life. And then D, daily gratitude. O, what are the opportunities that lie ahead? G, you know what? Sorry, D is do it. G is gratitude. And that's what I wrap up with, gratitude. So I did this pretty consistently during the pandemic. And I was using at the time, what is his name? The man who wrote Platform. He has a whole journaling line called the Full Focus Planner. and I'm blanking on his name. But anyways, have a good afternoon. With that, let us know what your journaling successes are. I'll go back, Steph, and edit out your little.
Yeah, I am sorry. I should have kept it more on target.
I'll take that out and then this will go up. But hope to see you sometime this month for the writing. And Valerie, I'm going to reach out to you because we're still planning on doing
Please.
a bunch of things.
Yes.
All right, everyone, have a good one. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.